I can hold a grudge, right? I can hold a damn good fucking grudge. I haven't talked to my mom since before my daughter was born.
That's right.
I can hold a grudge, right? Not that these are different, but the point being, I understand like hanging on to a thing that makes you upset, but that level of
that seems a bit much.
It's petty, bro. That's mad petty.
And I just can't imagine.
Crazy petty.
What does that do to you as the guy carrying that around?
That's what I'm saying,
like,
bro.
first of all, you know who this guy is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you may not be that level. Like, he says stupid shit all the fucking time. And he's not loving to death. He's not that bright.
No, I told you, I walked past him a month ago, was going outside, and he was talking to Tyler or Drew, and he says, I don't even know what people talk about besides sports.
Yeah. yeah.
Hold on. And he said, I mean, maybe politics sometimes, but what else do people talk about? And I had to stop myself from laughing on the way outside. I'm like, what do you mean? Maybe your hopes, your dreams, fucking anything other than something that doesn't affect your life at all, other than the money that you spend on it. Because that's the only thing that this matters, is that you bet on sports. Yep. Other than that, it doesn't affect your life at all. It changes nothing in your life, other than the emotion that you invest in this thing. You can't imagine what people talk about besides sports. Tell me again why you don't have a girlfriend. Because you can't fucking think about anything besides fucking stats and sports and fucking bullshit. What's the better thing to have for breakfast? A fucking cookie or a bratwurst? Are you fucking joking me? Are you fucking kidding me? What are we doing, bro? What are we talking about here? It's crazy.
It's
I just
super
don't.
crazy.
Yeah, you guys live in a sitcom over there.
It's wild.
That's why I'm glad I'm in a truck by myself most of the time.
Don Offie Island is a beautiful place to exist,
It is,
man.
dude. We're off on our own.
We rarely talk to each other. It's chill. Yeah, it's quiet. Yeah, we're fucking.
I think you guys talk enough.
Yeah, that's precisely, you know.
Most days we say maybe 10 words to each other.
Yeah,
maybe.
Super chill.
We're just chilling, just doing our own thing. Every now and again, tell a story about something that happened the night before or something like that. You know,
I'm watching this thing and this just happened.
Yeah.
Have you watched this yet? Did you see this thing?
Yeah.
Save it for the show.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of it is, especially
or like
with content things
a post-work beer sesh or something like that. It's like, I don't know. It's just, I think we've been trained at this point just to try not to talk to each other because then we know we're going to run into something that we should. Like, oh, fuck, we just tapped that well, didn't we?
I just share with him like silly things that I'm watching at work. If I'm watching One Piece, should I know he's never going to watch, I'm going to share this thing with you because you're never ever going to see it, you know? Yep. And it's going to be a funny story, you know, that type of thing. I've been watching a shitload of Gordon Ramsay lately in my time off. I'm fucking, filling it. Politics has just not been interesting me, so in order to fill my time, I'm watching
love Gordon Ramsay.
Dude. I mean, and on YouTube, there's like a couple different channels with all of the uncensored Hell's Kitchen and like all these different shows that he did, so you can hear him call people cunts and twats and shit, and you're like, this is awesome.
The old British, what was the show? Kitchen Nightmares, I think it was.
Yeah.
The one that he did in the early 2000s
awesome,
is so fucking good.
It's fucking great. And I don't.
Did you see the one in Idaho where the guy puts on like plays during dinner, him and his wife?
Yes, bro.
I called them one day. They're still in business. I called them, and I like triggered him. I was like, what kind of actor are you doing this? And he's still doing the fucking acting.
He does like a murder mystery, because he also did a Hotel Hell one. So there's one that's like whole hotels. So that one's really good.
Where is this?
It's in Idaho, Coeur
northern
d'Alene.
Idaho.
It's in Coeur d'Alene,
yeah.
He does a murder mystery.
I almost went, and then we ended up not going on vacation.
It's really incredible, some of the shit. And I've become really, let me ask you, when you were done in the Coast Guard, did you ever work in a commercial kitchen after that? Yeah. So I'm super interested in, because of all this Gordon Ramsay I'm watching, in the way that a kitchen like that operates, right? Because he doesn't ever explain it. He just talks shit about like how they're doing it wrong, you know? So I'm really intrigued as like on particularly the breakdown of the kitchen, like with the grill, the different line cooks and the expediter, and like how all these things are like, fucking fire this, wait on this, I just sold this, like, what the fuck is all this? I'm like, I'm super so.
Yeah, it's all first. It's all real. That's all things that you need to learn at some point, and if you don't learn it quick, you're not going to be around. We could be back washing dishes or doing some prep shit. But
I think that I'm going to find a kitchen when we're at Maynard's, because it's an open kitchen. Have you ever been to Maynard's before?
Yeah.
So it's a big open kitchen, and I was like, I almost guarantee that I can find a restaurant that like I just want to hang out in the corner. I don't want to touch anything. I don't want to fuck around. I'm just interested in how the fuck this works. Like I just want to see what you guys have going on here, because I'm so intrigued by that world, the different verbiage and stuff and all. I'm very
the most.
You can't make this and then freeze and then cook this. Then how do you fucking cook for 90 people? How do you do these things in the way that he finds them appropriate? I don't fucking know.
Well, yeah, I can't speak to like how he breaks it down on the show and stuff, because I've only seen various episodes every now and again. But the real life kitchen world, I mean, it's cutthroat. Everybody is in. If you're in a good kitchen, you're in business mode, and it's a factory floor,
Right.
And tickets come in. Certain people have certain jobs, and it is that job to do that as quick as possible, the same exact way you've done it the fucking 75 other times you've already done it today, and it better make it out to that point at some time. And if that plate in fucking 10 minutes is still there, it's got to be thrown away, and you got to do it again. So then you're fucking fighting with the front house. But usually it's like somebody, like the
expediter, right?
Well, the expediter would be one thing, just to kind of help the front end of the house. But there will be, like, your lead cook in the back is in charge of making sure, okay, I'm looking at the tickets, and it's usually like whoever runs the kitchen,
like
whoever's the
executive
chef,
or
right?
The head chef,
Yeah. And like when I was working at Port Gamble restaurant, the guy that owns the two chefs that own and operate Butcher and Baker now used to run that. There was the pastry chef and the main chef, Adam. And you could still see him fucking barking orders and taking care of shit over at Butcher and Baker if you go there now. But he'd be the one that ultimately, like, he'd throw down on some things on the line, but for the most part, don't fuck with the line because we're all doing our thing, and then you just don't get in there. But then he's the one that he'll basically take the finalized plate and go, okay, this one's good. I'll take the ticket, stick it underneath it. Then it's just up to the people in the front house together. Right. And if somebody's, where the fuck are you? The thing's, we're like 5 minutes out on this. What are we doing? This needs to be fucking gone right now. And so there's usually one person who's in charge of, like, fighting with the front to make sure shit's being done right. And if they have a problem, they take it to them because line cooks don't have time to deal with the minutia of something that went wrong.
Yeah.
We'll get told that by the head dude if and when it needs to be addressed.
You fuck this up, remake it.
Exactly. And so, yeah, but like all that stuff, yeah, it's all like very pro talk. It's industry talk that it's just, I don't know any other way to equate it other than it's just a fucking factory line that it all has to go boom, bang, boom, boom. Otherwise, shit just goes fucking wrong. You get into the weeds, bro. You can't be in the weeds. Right. You got to get out.
Says we're in the shit right now.
Yes, dude. Yeah. You can't be. Oh, yeah, the kitchen is about 45 minutes. It's a 45-minute wait to get food. That's not a place for you to be at. Right. That is bad news. And you do not want to be on the line dealing with that fucking stress as that's happening.
Right.
But then at the same time, sometimes it happens because you get a mad rush and shit just gets fucked up, and then you eventually just everybody knows the grindstone fucking. Next thing you know, you're out of it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff that I never worked food service. I chose actively to avoid
it sucks
that particular because I knew how unfortunate it was.
Yeah.
Just really didn't ever want to do that.
Sucks dick, and you don't get paid much. Nights, weekends, and holidays. That's why it's its own subculture of people that all hang out together because nobody else has like those types of hours. It's all just industry people, and it's bartenders, and it's wait staff, and it's cooks, and we're all just a bunch of fucking pieces of shit that hang out in the middle of the night all the time because that's when we're off.
Right.
And like that's why we're staying up till 3 o'clock at night, closing down this bar or that bar. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, I'll even go and get my fucking food handlers just want to stand in the corner. I just want to see what you guys got going on here. Yeah, I just want to watch. I'm just super intrigued by that,
I highly recommend more people do that because it is a world most people don't understand.
There's a lot of aspects that I didn't consider, the wait times and stuff like that, just not only in the food, like when they're cooking it, but then when they do get backed up and they're like, okay, stop taking food orders. Like, oh my God, you can do that. You can just tell the wait staff, like, don't fucking take any more food orders for 10 minutes.
Yep. And that's like you do some drinks, and the next thing you know, you're sitting there like, what are my fucking waiters doing?
And that's because
they're giving a little bit of lead time. And then if you don't know what's going on, it's just a seamless thing. Ideally, you're sitting down with somebody at the table, having a good time, chit-chatting, and you don't even notice.
Right.
And all of a sudden, kick us back up, baby. Well-oiled machine. Well-oiled machine. Or just a total fucking train wreck.
Yeah.
Shut it down.
Shut it down.
Yeah, I was watching one like yesterday, and there was a restaurant that was like 3 doors down from one of his restaurants.
3 doors down.
And they had, all kinds of rats and like rotten food in the prep station. Like it was an Indian restaurant, and they were making tomato roses to go on top of some of this stuff. So Gordon Ramsay is going through the line, and he finds a tomato that has a rot hole in it that's cut in half. So somebody just made a tomato rosé. It's like, this is on someone's food somewhere, and there's a fucking hole in it.
Shut it down.
Yeah, it went down to the basement, and there's cockroaches in the seal of the fridge and in the freezer, like living in the rubber seals. And the guy's like, I don't understand. What's the problem?
What's the problem?
Yeah,
it's protein, baby.
He's 3 managers, like a operations manager, a floor manager, and then like something else, and like. Everyone's like, I don't know whose job it is. Like, what do you mean whose job it is? There's a cockroach in the fridge. It's crazy, yeah. Yeah, and it also just makes you like question, I wonder what the usual kitchen looks like at a restaurant that you're going to. Like, are most of them
are fucking clean as shit.
And I would really hope so,
Yeah.
But I also know all the people who are eating in those shitty restaurants don't know how fucked up that restaurant is. They know the food is bad, but they probably just know this was shit food this time, not like there are detrimental food process disorders going on in the kitchen that are making this food taste like shit. Not just that this guy's a bad cook, but that when you're storing things improperly and like it's next to rotten shit, it's going to make your good food taste like shit because it's next to rotting food. Like that's... all of these things make sense. And I always thought that was really interesting, too, that when he can see that, like, when there's a ton of food being returned, he's like, okay, something's fucked up in the fucking storage.
Go investigate here.
Really interesting. This is really intriguing fucking SOS ID talk, but this is where I've been.
Warm. It's been a long time, apparently, since we all sat down.
It is what it is.
When we get into the real nitty gritty,
yeah,
there's been stuff I've been wanting to talk to Brine about.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So you remember our last conversation very well. You kind of.
I just watched it, so I'm well
there
caught
you
up.
go.
I watched it
Good.
last week.
So we could just dive right into it.
It's got a good release schedule going with these things.
It's been work. I've been juggling. I don't know which is coming next. Basically, any given month, I just go okay. So then I watch the last one and go, no, this one has to go next. This one's got to be next, and then offset whatever. But insider baseball, nobody gives a fuck. The last thing that I believe I said was, we have to talk about this next time we're together. And this was what do you do after the divorce, the massive breakup? You just bought a house and you're living by yourself again. So first of all, I want to start with the process of you getting.
Can we go back to Gordon Ramsay talk? Or
No, this is where we're diving in, bro. Get ready. If there's wounds here, we're going to pour salt on them and find out what's going on. But talk to me about the process of you moving out and from where you were to getting into this house and what that felt like to you. In like, I don't know, did it feel good to move on? How stressful was it?
After the breakup, I moved into I was already in the RV with her full time.
Yes.
And then I moved the RV to another spot out in Pickering.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's where you were at before you bought the house?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Where was that when I met him?
Yeah.
So what ultimately possessed you to buy the house? Just get the fuck out of the trailer.
I've always wanted a house, of course.
Yeah.
Like I hate living in something that's not mine, or like the RV. Like you can't really do much to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of set in its way, and it's a tight space. I'm a big dude, obviously, and it's a very tight space. Like even just making dinner, I'm cramped beneath cabinets.
Oh yeah.
I've always wanted a house, right? And my parents come out quite frequently, and when they come out, they usually rent a house because if my siblings are coming, or they were in the trailer with me, and then that's 3 adults inside of a fucking RV.
It's tough,
which is pretty tough. It worked out, but I love this area. I was telling you that time I came up here with my ex-wife and spent the night at one of the places down on the waterfront there by the ferry dock, listening to your band Hippie and the Squids.
Oh yeah,
and it was just beautiful.
That'll do it,
man. I gotta get into Bremerton like full time. I love this area. I love Naval, and it was time. My grandmother had some money for me to help me with the down payment, and we were talking about it for a while. My mom's was like, "You just have to do it." I'm like, "Oh, I want rates to come down. I want this to happen." Blah blah blah, and she's just like, "Just do it." I found a couple of these houses online. I'm going to call a real estate broker today. And that night, I go and I meet up with this guy. And the first house I go into was the house I'm in now. And walk in there, I'm like, on the Zillow, it looked super small. Like way smaller than it is. It's a small house, right? But it looked way smaller than it was. That it was only 800 square feet. And I get there and I'm like, wow, this place is pretty nice. It's updated. Everything's everything's new. All the floors are all right, but new kitchen, bathroom looks fine, and it was a lot bigger than I thought. Decent piece of property, and I'm like, okay, pretty nice. We went and saw other places. Every single one of them trash.
Yeah.
Like water damage or this or that or fucking neighbors. Like I get to this one house and there's cars all in the driveway from the neighbors, and they're dirt bags, like engines out on their lawn and stuff.
Shout out.
In my driveway. And I'm like,
one is acceptable. Multiple, we have questions.
Yeah, these places were all nightmares, and this area, Manette, you know Manette, it's nice. It's a real nice area to be. And I went and put an offer in that night, and I got the offer accepted the next morning, and that's really where I wanted to be. So, just getting out of the trailer is one thing, but having a place that's your own and you know all the money you're paying into it is going towards it and the equity and everything. I didn't want to. I was in apartments, didn't want to rent anymore. I have my son. I'm like, I need a place that's mine. I can collect shit, and you know.
Yeah, it's so much easier when it's just for me realizing how much you relied on your space that was yours, the stuff you could do to it, and you know you could just stash, you know, all the hobby shit that you do. You know, you can have it all there, and it's all ready. Move into another spot that's not necessarily yours. It's called a storage unit at that point, and that's and you have to do that. Unit. And like I don't feel like I don't live here anymore. This isn't my spot. I just sleep here sometimes.
You have that degree of uncomfortability that's always looming over you, where it's like when you're in your own house, you know, you own your own house, you never feel out of place in it. Like it took me maybe 3 weeks in the house to start feeling like, okay, this is mine. This is long term. Yeah. And now I'm like, the calming I have just sitting, like last night watching Counter-Strike, I had some like nice little ambient lights on, had my little diffuser going, and just like, this is all I really wanted in life, man. I can be happy here. The area is so beautiful. Everywhere I drive, I'm either looking at mountains or water. You know, you can't beat that part of Bremer, in my opinion. You don't deal with the homeless.
Yeah, that's just over the water. It's on the other side.
Yeah, just over the bridge. Yeah. You got it. There's a shock collar fence that they can't get through. They don't know they're wearing.
It's an invisible fence. It's fine.
But
so how you been doing now that because you've been there now for how many months?
About 3 months
now. About 3 months,
yeah.
And you're feeling comfortable. You're feeling good. How are you feeling with the moving up? You know, putting your past behind you. I imagine having the house really helps because it's a new space. Everything is new from now on.
It does. It's been making like talking to women easier because I'm like, oh, I don't live in a fucking RV, right? Red flag for most people.
Oh yeah.
Because
I was wondering how my little brother got so many to come over to his fucking little trailer when he lived in a fifth wheel. I'm like, bro, I don't get it.
I had that happen too, and like I lived in a really nice place when I lived in an RV. It was actually like one of the nicest places you could be. A private lake access, but you know, it's the getting by that is difficult.
Yeah.
And now I'm so close to Seattle, man. It just makes it so easy, but. It's not the trailer at this point, or not the trailer. It's not the house really at this point. It's more of just like my self-image and, you know, being overweight, which I've been working on a lot. I've lost like 12 pounds recently.
So you told me the other day you've been a lot healthier. I'll ask you about that again, but keep talking about.
Yeah. The only thing I'm really dealing with now is like loneliness and definitely a lot of regret from that past relationship. And my mother not recently, but she told me right after the breakup, she's like, you gotta learn to hate her, and I'm like, that's been a hard thing to do.
Can I stop you for a second? Regret what?
Just the way I was, like when COVID happened, I just completely let myself go. I was living off the GI Bill and my disability, and all I did was, you know, drink beer every day and play video games, and I wasn't really accomplishing anything. I got laid off from my job, and there was like this thing in her head that's like I would always change jobs and stuff, and I was going upwards. It's not like I was like leaving. What you know? I'm trying to think what we touched last time. I don't want to repeat myself.
Don't worry about that.
A lot of regret from there, knowing that it was mainly me, and I'm starting to learn now that, and I've said this before, we should have split way earlier on. Like, probably when she got fucked up enough to shoot me in the head was probably a good warning sign.
I think that's pretty common. A lot of toxic relationships stick around for a lot longer than they should.
Yeah. We talked a lot last time about that. You guys were in this very toxic codependency, which makes sense because, you know, it's really tough to escape that stuff when people are caught up in it. So you're going to do it anyways, but you can really only logically like give yourself so much shit for it because you guys were both doing it to each other and then you feed off each other's negativity, and that's just the way those things go. So
and I don't know how it was with you, like when you realized, okay, this is not going to like long term.
Yeah,
like,
it was
past
a while.
year, but I realized like 2
a lot
years,
of lying to yourself.
Exactly. And she's just like, we're not going to buy a house. Like, I don't want to buy a house with you. Like, because I was inconsistent with work, which is kind of bullshit. Cause when COVID was over and we were able to work again, I've always held the job.
You've always had a job.
I've always had a job.
I've never known you to not have a job.
I've never asked for money. I've always had a substantial enough bank account where I could take 6 months off and not, you know, I have disability coming in too. It's not a lot. I'm only 50%, right?
It's supplemental.
So it's a nice little addition.
Yeah.
Enough to not starve if something bad happened.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I'm learning now. I'm just like, okay, even if it was long, that relationship was longer than it should have been, you're out of it now. And with the house and everything, I'm able to look at the bright side of things. You're 30. Your son is healthy. Like, I have the most loving family you could ever have. Like, I may be far from them, but every day my grandmother and mother text me and I talk to them every single day. Like, I can't really ask for more in my life. I have great friends. I have great friends like you, all the boys. I have my buddy Ryan, who you met when, man, you should have came over to the barbecue. I didn't even fucking think that.
I don't think I did either.
I did not even, now I feel like a fucking jerk off.
All right, I was probably busy, to be honest.
Well, it started, and also to be fair, it started as a much smaller. Like, it was just going to be Bronson and Sam, and then I was.
It was just supposed to be Sam and me, and then Bronson.
Right, and I said, well, I'm going to I'll stop by. I'm not going to play music. I was like, but I'll come hang out for like an hour or two while the kids nap.
And I'm like, I'm just going to throw it out there. I'll smoke some
barbecue,
meat.
right?
Dude,
that happened to me and my buddy got together maybe a month ago now. I don't even remember, but it was the same thing. Me and him were just hanging out that day, and we went back to his place afterwards. And we're like, let's just throw something on the barbecue, and we'll just throw out a quick text to a few people, and then the next thing you know, there's like fucking 16 people, and we're hanging out all fucking night. Got a bonfire 15 feet tall. I mean,
those were the best. This was a little different because it was like
they drove through the woods.
Yeah, that was Jeeping night.
Yes.
This was like a week or so earlier where I was we have the group chat, and my buddy Sam was going to come over and we were going to play some music, and I put a picture of the house and the guitars hanging, and one of our buddies was like, hey, you know, the house looks really nice. You have people over, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. So I ended up smoking 22 pounds of pork butt.
Oh,
for,
yeah.
It was like 26 hours.
Woo!
It's really good.
It was the best I've ever done, best I've ever had. It was delicious.
Love it.
Me and Jordan, the kids went. She left me there. I got half drunk that night. It was pretty cool.
That was the half drunk night. Got it.
Half drunk, huh?
Yeah.
He never gets full drunk unless it's like a serious thing. Like there's a big function or something like that. Mostly he just gets half drunk and has a really good time.
Yeah. Because I know you saw me, like I drank a ton of water. Like I don't, you know, I moderate that like really well.
I don't feel like you get housed much.
I don't like to not be in control, you know, and that's not like, that goes down to even like if I'm gonna come home and want to like have sex with my wife, I want to know that's gonna go exactly the way that I want it to go. You know, like to that, like I don't. That's
a very good place to be.
Yeah,
at,
I just don't
that's
like not being in control. You know, and it's not
sense.
like I don't know. And now that I think just now that I'm getting older, you know, that line just like blurs, you know, maybe I have one more beer or whatever, and I'm like, oh my God, now I fucking
I had a point where I'm just
like I wanted to or whatever, like, you know, and I just don't like that, but I know that I can, you know, crush 3 or 4 beers pretty quick early, and then like hit a couple glasses of water, and then like dip back into the beer, and then have some more water, and like do that, and I'll be totally cool no matter what. When I get home.
Nice point.
Yeah, and I having a good time, and I was fucking, you know, whatever, and like I had a great time. I was pissing my pants. It was great. And when we were leaving, it was Emily and Riley drove me home, and it was great. Emily's pregnant, and
you were in the truck.
They drove me home, and Brine Street is a one-way road, and Riley has this fucking giant truck, and so Emily drove because we were both fucked up, and she is a perfectly fine driver, and I don't have any reason to not believe that. And immediately Riley starts like telling her how she should, back the truck up.
Oh,
she's
backseat.
Or I fucking got this, So immediately,
and then I came out,
and
I just wanted them to know that there was a mailbox there.
I was laughing so fucking hard,
dude,
because I'm sitting in the back seat and Riley's trying to tell her to do shit, and like she's adjusting, and she's doing just fine. Just nothing. It's maybe taking longer than it would Riley because he drives that truck every single day.
Yeah.
But the same deal as like the Tundra. Jordan can drive the Tundra just fine. I'll do it quicker because I drive it every single day.
Yeah.
But she's gonna do it just fine. So yeah, he's fucking, and she's doing this, and then he's shaking his head, and she's like, "Shut the fuck up!" And then Brine walks out of his house while they're arguing, and he's just being nice, He walks out, and she's like, "God fucking damn it!" And I just started dying. I was like, I'm so glad you guys drove me home, because Sean was there too, and he almost drove me home. So glad that I went home with them instead, because that was so fucking funny.
That's perfect.
That was a beautiful cap to the night right there.
I love those fucking moments, dude.
Oh god.
I had a fucking moment, like, even though I was the one driving, but like my two backseat drivers that I had on the way back from Brother Don's last weekend was phenomenal. Especially one person in particular, because I drove him there and I was gonna drive him home, so he just cut fucking loose, and I never seen him at that level before, and it was amazing.
I went in on her eventually. I
So
forgot
fucking
about this
funny.
until now. We were at the end of the Minette Bridge, and we were at the red light, and it was like 11:30 or whatever, and so we're sitting there, and I leaned forward with the backseat. I said, "You should just go." And she's like, "No," and I said, "Let me explain this to you." I said, "You're being captured by red light syndrome, right?" I absolutely hit her with the red light syndrome.
That red light makes no sense. You can't go that way
You
anymore.
can't even turn right that way anymore. And so I explained to her, I said, "This is exactly the way that I think about it." I said, "I agree with traffic laws. They're good. They keep people safe." I said, "What I'm telling you, you're in an instance right now where it is impossible for you to hurt anybody, and we're just sitting here wasting time." I was like, "I don't think there's anything morally wrong with you running this red light right now."
Says the half-drunk person in the
And
back.
Riley's like, he's like, "Yeah, you should do it." And she's like, "Fuck you." But she did it. She ran the red light.
Oh!
She did it, yeah. And then we were waiting.
Then you see the flash from the camera and go, fuck!
No, there's no light there, or there's no camera there. And then we were on like 6th and Wheaton Way, and I was like, I wouldn't run this light. There's a ton of traffic. There's a ton of people around. Obvious. I leaned forward. I was like, I definitely wouldn't run this light. And she's like, yeah, no, I know.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
my God.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh God, I was dying. It was a fucking great ride home. That was a good time.
So, key point, really, to get back to the conversation, is having those friends around you and the ability to have them over and stuff like that now really helped you start to move forward in life.
Yeah. I'd say I'm like pretty much over.
Good.
Like it. Sometimes I have like dreams about it, but I still have dreams about like people. A very, very, very vivid dream. Like I have repeating dreams that I've been having since my childhood. Not a lot of nightmares, but
Do you ever lucid dream? You know what that is?
where I can control it. Is that what that is? Yeah. Most nights, I'd say.
That's pretty
Damn.
cool.
I can control.
Dated a gal who's super into lucid dreaming. She had like a process of like, she's like, if I like make myself fall asleep this particular way, then I'll have a lucid.
Mine is not
It's fucking
intentional.
crazy.
Mine just happens.
I had a fucked
She
up
was a
dream
weird
last
chick.
night.
She put a lot of work into that. That
Yeah.
was crafted over years. That particular thing.
That's
She- or,
I
interesting.
wouldn't even know where to
yeah,
start with
they're
that.
like
Me
17.
neither.
Yeah, she'd been doing it a long time.
I'm
It's
just
like
along
since
for
she
the
was a little
ride,
kid.
dude.
If I have nights where I don't dream, I wake up so fucking tired. I'm not sure why that is, but if I'm dreaming pretty good and I wake up, I'm usually one that as soon as my alarm goes off, 5 seconds later my feet,
Yeah.
I'm getting to the shit. Like
Yes.
I can't do that now. I have to climb out of bed.
I'm not a lay in bed and button kind of person.
Dude, when you have to tackle a ladder first thing in the morning, fuck all that noise. I'm sleeping in a twin size loft bed right now.
Got bunk beds.
No, there's no. My dogs sleep underneath, so it's just a loft bed. There's nothing underneath of it. It's just
That's
the top.
funny. Yeah,
It's not great.
That adds a little.
It's not great, dude. I'll say that right now. And I don't fit in it. First of all,
Well,
I gotta sleep at an angle. Put my fucking feet on the outside.
It is a twin size bed. About what, 6'3"?
6'4", and I feel every bit of it.
Yeah.
But I'm so fucking desperate at this point. I'm not gonna be there that long. But I'm already considering buying like a decent mattress to put in there, because I got like a 4-inch fucking nice ass foam topper on this thing and all this, but it still feels like sleeping on fucking concrete every night, and I hurt all the time now. And I'm like, I will spend a few $100s on a decent mattress just to throw in here so I can at least have some good night's sleep.
Online. My mattress was like $300-$400.
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
It's incredible. I have a big king size.
Oh, that must
Not
be
the
nice.
rugged. Dude. I gotta.
I'm excited. I mean, this is how bad this is, right? I am irrationally excited about next Saturday. I get to sleep in a full-size pull-out bed from a couch, and that's going to be an improvement.
It's an upgrade.
I'm very excited.
What's the
about
deal?
that.
What's the plan going forward now?
Oh well,
Because I know I want to get into your.
We can do that because that's really what. This is why I've been wanting to talk to you about this because I'm in the, starting from zero, have to rebuild everything now. And
let me go back with you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
How long were you guys really like separated up until this? Not like legally or anything, but where you guys were no longer in a romantic relationship.
God, I don't even know. It was a while where, we lived together, but we were never home at the same time. And then even when we were, I'd be going to bed by myself and she'd be up all night fucking streaming. And then we'd fucking high five on when I'm getting up for work in the morning and she's going to fucking bed, sleeping all goddamn day. And then by the time I get home, she's spending like 4 hours down at the gym and then just never seen each other. And that was for a while.
There was a while where I would go to his house to do the show, and so I would be at his house for like 10 hours,
and not see her
I wouldn't
once.
see her. I would be
And
there
she was there.
She was there, but I wouldn't see her all day.
No, she just lived in her studio or an office. We
either
we
that
hardly
or-
ever, like every time we'd sit down to like watch something on TV, we could never agree on anything, and it was always a big fucking fight, and so we just didn't. We just started
But at
to
that
live
point, were you guys
apart
like,
separately.
we're still like, you'd consider yourself a married person, like you were now
Oh, yeah.
with other people?
Well,
No, I wouldn't say that. I'm not gonna pretend to know exactly what was going on, but we were living totally separate lives at that point.
Okay.
and when we were, a super interesting question.
And I'm also I'm like, I was
Right.
lost in it for so long. It was just and you're married for that long. You just well, no, this is what we're doing. We just do this thing. We'll go ups and downs, whatever. Things will
And what
either
did you
get
think
better
of that?
or not.
Did you?
I was too fucking involved with my work life to care about anything, to be honest. I was so fucking stressed out and just not.
I'm going to
caring.
say Dax is just over 5, and so I'm going to say 4.5 years ago was about the time that she was like, I missed out on my youth and I need to kind of rediscover myself and I need to like do X, Y, and Z. And she just started doing more shit, just stuff. And Colin was super crazy supportive of her endeavor to do this. He was like, I understand, we were young, or whatever, so if she needs to go to
She was a military wife for a lot of years, so a lot of guilt there.
And it was like, pretty benign shit, like going to concerts and fucking cons and like just shit that like he didn't really want to do anyway, know, so it like wasn't that big of a deal. And then when we were
Nice to have a third party aspect on this because I'm like,
been here the whole time.
You're there, you're just plugged into it, so you don't even really think about those things.
And then, because that was probably around the time that she started like streaming and stuff too, was like around that time. And like that wasn't weird because she was still like home most of the time. She was still there most of the time. Just her like schedule was really fucked because of she was up until like sometimes I would get up for work and she would still be streaming like at like 4:30.
What was she like a game streamer? Or?
Yeah, just whatever.
Yeah.
Call of Duty or whatever the fuck she was playing, all kinds of stuff. And like I thought that was crazy because she was also like had another job and like wasn't doing as good at her job because she was fucking around and like just not. And
Interesting.
He was still like whatever whatever you need to be doing is like but you were also mad crazy with work at that time, so I think there was a combination of,
and it was one of those things like as long as I'm working and providing and doing all this, you do you, bro. I don't rely on you for anything as far as the house is concerned. All the bills are paid, the mortgage is paid, there's food on the table, all the things, and it's like I made a good living doing that. And so, like, it was, go ahead, go to town. You
And
know?
when we were talking about moving to the East Coast just before Reason was born, so that would be like 2.5 years ago, she was going to move with us. So you guys were still like, I think that I would have considered you guys separated because at that time, like the level of disconnection and stuff that I was seeing,
pretty
I was
severe.
like, there's no, in my opinion, I was like, there's no way that this is gonna work
Well, I guess
long term. But you were still, guys were still trying to make it work because she was gonna move to the East Coast with us. Like we were all gonna go together. So,
and that was like the decade of marriage prior to that. You just did the thing; it didn't matter.
Yeah,
like, you were just
that's also when the flight attendant thing started, and I think that was the
boom,
real
game over at that point.
Drop off was when she became a flight attendant. That was the real.
Yeah, that was the real, to me at the time, the way it felt to me, and I'll just phrase it that way, that was the time I felt like betrayed, like unbelievably. I just decided to go to leave my job and sell my shares of the company off and all that, and get like a non-stressful regular job and go back to Bannock.
Yeah.
And she was in full support of that, but it was like, okay, but also now you need to help with the finances and stuff like that. This is the first time we're ever going to have to do this because I'm going to take a severe pay cut doing this, but I'll be emotionally available. I will be home every night. You know, I won't be staying at the office till 8 o'clock, 8:30, and just stressed out of my ass, having to take phone calls for work on the weekends. And, you know, it'll be a good thing, but you need to help out around, you know, the house and all that stuff. And then soon as we made that decision, turns around and it's like, okay, well, I'm going to go take this job now that I have no idea what I'm going to get paid. I'm not going to be around ever. And I have to go to this training session for X amount of time where I don't get paid. And what the fuck are you doing?
She had just got denied the first time, I think, because she like didn't have a passport or something.
Yeah.
And we were literally,
That's
I remember
right.
sitting in the basement in Keyport with a map of the United States on our television, talking about the different states that we would all be willing to move to, because she had not got this job. And so we're like, okay, so this is okay now. We can move because you're not going to get a job here. She's like, oh, well, I still intend on like getting this job. As
What
we
do
were
you
sitting
mean?
in the living room at Keyport. So that was less than 3 years
yeah,
ago.
and
Because
you
that
were
was
like,
just
what are you
before we
talking
moved
about?
Here. We're like looking for a house at that time. Yeah, and she was like, oh no, I'm going to still do that. And that's when, she didn't know what her schedule was going to be or what her pay was going to be or anything like that.
Nope.
But had decided that she was going to take that job.
Nope.
After we all were under the impression that she wasn't going to take that job, because we were so very connected at that time because our futures were deeply intertwined that we were all talking very intimately all the time. You know,
we're gonna go be contractors in Oklahoma, for God's sakes.
We were all shocked when she said that. Yeah, because all three of us were like, I thought that we had moved past this because you didn't get this job.
Yep.
And I remember that was a super awkward few minutes in the basement.
Because she also was not really used to talking to you, so she didn't understand how to talk to you about that. So she said that, and you were like, wait, I don't understand. What do you mean? Like, I'm still going to take... Yeah, but, like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Elaborate, please. I need more information.
Yeah. But, yeah, then that turned into just, like, okay, well, obviously, we went to counseling for a little while to try to see what that had happened, what might happen with that. And then, just never fucking showed up on time for it. Just couldn't... Just was not.
So it sounds like she was kind of checked out.
Oh, totally.
Long before.
She was. Sorry, I'm fucking talking.
We kind of both were, but like to varying degrees and different styles.
Yeah, I think in my opinion, you were putting in, from my perception, you were more invested in actually trying to make it work other than keeping up the appearance of trying to make it work, because like we would hang out with you guys and she was still like very affectionate and like all that type of stuff, but then I would talk to you, but like, it doesn't sound like this is how it is when we're not here,
Yeah.
And so for her, it seemed very much about appearances, and I was talking to you, so unless you were, and I don't think that you were because you don't like me, unless you were being dishonest with me about your behavior that entire time.
I was just being dishonest with myself.
Well, I mean about the way you were actually behaving, like the way you were conducting yourself and like trying to act. Like,
well, you remember seeing me all the time where I'd come in just strung the fuck out because I was like,
when you're staying up until 11 o'clock to make her meals like for the week, and you haven't even seen her that entire day because she was just at the gym for 4 hours hanging out with other people, and then is gonna like go out for drinks afterwards. Still hasn't seen Colin that day. Well, he's staying up late to make her food for the week, like that type of shit. Yeah, that I was like,
You can move that chair
This
if you want
is
to.
fucked
I'm
up.
just
It works.
the chair's at a weird height
It is.
where I can't put my legs on the bar because they're too tall, and then I'm still a little too far from the floor.
No, I get it.
The chairs.
Being tall
were an
sometimes super
afterthought.
sucks.
Yeah.
Well, nothing is built for us. Maybe if we were in
No.
Norway, I don't know. Maybe they.
Well, the
differently there.
table, I built the table a while ago, like before we had this studio, with the intent of it being a reloading table. So it
Yeah.
was built.
This
like,
is a work table.
Yeah, it was built at a standing height for us to be comfortable, standing at it. And,
Help
like,
me build a
doing
bench
shit.
in that mud room. I want a
Totally.
little work area for
This
guitars and
table
guns.
is an exact copy of the tables we have at work.
I would like
Yes.
your help with
Yeah.
doing something like that.
I was like, oh, I really need a work table. I was like, oh, how do I fucking build a work table? As I'm at work, I was like, fucking idiot. You're standing at a fucking table, you moron. Yeah, and so this is an exact copy of the ones that we have at work because it's such a good fucking model.
It's solid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the hardware is not quite as legit because there's just nothing on it. But,
Yeah.
you know, at work, there's some real
It's a bit overkill for what you're doing here, but that's a good thing.
Precisely, yeah.
It's
we're-
sturdy as fuck. It's
Yeah.
the most sturdy studio table we've ever had.
Yeah, there are times
So
at work
nice.
where multiple people are standing on a table, like
Or
so,
crawling, and
yeah,
you know,
and
it's a
we're
weird
never
thing.
going to do that.
Don't ask
here,
questions.
So I don't need to worry about that.
Yeah.
Dan will
Got to
call.
live stream your office one.
We've joked about that, I think.
Yeah,
It might have been when I worked there originally, but it's like we could literally make an office sitcom from
Yeah,
fucking
that's what it
working
sounds
here.
like.
It's fucking wild.
it would take some heavy editing. Like you would have to just kind of let a camera roll,
Yeah.
and then really
Big brother.
But
Yeah.
you would get some gold. You would definitely get
gold.
some shit
A
that
few
like
seasons Netflix would be interested in buying.
yeah.
They'd
people-
greenlight us.
People around the country would be like, I identify with this very heavily. Like
Yeah.
this is I know this. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Can I ask you about what your mom said? You said that your mom told you that you need to learn to hate your ex-girlfriend or your ex-wife, right? What is your take on that? I think that's super interesting.
I would think that came from her because she left her husband, my biological father. I was about 4 years old. And I don't know, they were like high school sweethearts. I don't know where her brain was at that time with like how much she loved him still.
Yeah.
And how hard it was for her to step away and initiate that divorce. So I don't really know if that came from maybe her, where that's what she had to do, where she had to be like, okay, this is logically what I have to do, but emotionally I'm invested in him still. So I have to teach myself to hate him in order to pursue what I think the logical thing is. And I'd been talking to her for probably 2 years before with that I know that it's going to end. And I've talked to my ex about, I'm like, it's going to end eventually. But sitting here now, hindsight is 2020, but it's so fucking stupid to be, oh yeah, like we're talking about splitting up and codependency thing, and which is like we're living together, need to have another place.
I mean, I did it for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah.
So I totally get that.
You get that for sure.
You know? And I think the hate your ex at this point, that whole topic, I can tell you that I did carry a lot of resentment for a while, and I did hate her for a little while. But the greatest thing that has ever happened to me was when all of my resentment and hatred just turned into indifference. It's like I just don't. She doesn't enter my mind.
That's where I'm
almost
at.
Ever anymore, unless there's some kind of. She wants to come over and like we do this shared custody with our dogs now and the cat. So she'll come over every, I don't know, month or so maybe, stop by for a half hour, 45 minutes, and love on the dogs and all that. And then at this point, we just it's so nice to be able to
What?
Cut that shit out.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
I
cut
what's
that
the
shit
fucking
out.
point of that?
You're a good man, but fucking cut that shit out. It's not good for you.
Oh, I don't care. It doesn't
Well,
bother
man,
me at all.
that's-
I'm home
that's
anyways.
Good on you, man. I mean,
It literally doesn't bother me.
I'd
which
have
is
like 6 hookers over if she came over and she's like, "Oh, what's up? This is my bitches now."
well, there's a deeper, longer story there about her being what's the right word? I don't know how she knew the things she knew about my private life when we were like fully separated, but she knew details that seemed impossible for anybody to know. And so she just knew everything about what I was doing.
She had people watching it, like reporting. her
Yeah,
what his
to like,
location is.
and like strange, fucking hanging out in a parking lot at fucking 1:30 in the morning in the middle of nowhere with no on the road with very little traffic and all this stuff, and then she knows that I did that, and I'm like, I don't understand.
That's uncomfortable.
It was, and
What the?
and
Leave
so
your
like
location
after a
on or
while,
something like that on your phone.
No.
Like how?
no, we quit sharing locations like a long time before that, and I mean like back when we still lived in the same house, and so I don't know how she knew about all that, but like all of a sudden it was like, well, no, like there were some issues for a minute, and then it was like, well, no, I'm glad you're going out and meeting people and having a good time, and I was like, oh, and then I just kind of quit caring at that point, and then she got kind of involved with somebody that I learned about, and I was like, oh, good for her, and then it just got to the point where once we worked out all of our financial differences with the divorce and all that, I just don't have to really care about you anymore, and it's been so fucking nice. You can come over and see the dogs if it's convenient for me. And because I don't want her to be at my fucking mom's house if I'm not around.
Yeah.
But like, she shows up for a little while, hangs out, and fucking light chit chat, and then she's on her way. And I'm like, it doesn't fucking bother me. And it's nice just to not care. And it's the indifference there that I've been able to achieve has been so enlightening on my mind. Not having to, if I get a random text from her about something, like a reminder that, oh, hey, one of the dogs has their annual checkup next month. Put it on your calendar. I don't see her come up in my text messages and just go, oh, fuck, what is this going to be about? No, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Just don't. And it's worked out really, really well for me. So and it was so unhealthy to be in that hateful, spiteful period. It was not fun. I don't wish that on anybody. But I can see how it might be required to a point to get over somebody if that's really what it was.
Yeah, where I'm the opposite. Where I never had the resentment.
Yeah.
Like for a long time I was like, oh, I just hope she comes back or whatever. And when we split, we never talked again. I never saw her. I heard what you time from a friend.
That's
and I was
right.
Like,
total ghost.
I was like, don't tell me about it. I don't care. I don't want to know. Like, it's over and it's done.
Yeah.
And it probably took until, I don't know, 6 months ago or so to where I'm just like starting to be happy that it's over, where I'm like, I've been living with this veil in front of my eyes of not, how would I put this? This like fog of that relationship. Kind of, I'm looking at the good things and not seeing all the bad, and now I'm just like, wow, you're so much better off being on your own right now, like so much better off.
You or her?
I don't know. I have no fucking clue what she's doing. I don't care. Like,
you're way better off.
I'm way better off now than I would have been if we were still in that relationship. 100%. Like. And I used to lie to myself and say that, and now I'm truly like, thank God. And even sitting here now, it's like I feel relieved. Like, yeah. I think I've gotten that sense of relief where I'm like, I don't have to have that fucking stress over me. Where I'm like, when is this going to end? What kind of eggshells do I have to walk on, and so on and so forth. But
yeah, the constant living on eggshells is so fucking unhealthy.
Yeah,
you're just never, even in your own house at that point, like when you in a place that should be your comfy place, because like ideally you're in your spot, you got your person there, that should be like maximum comfort level. But
and living in the trailer, there is no your space.
No.
It is both of your spaces. We spent a lot of time together. We went everywhere together. Like I never took time away, and that was a big problem with the codependency. Is like I didn't go anywhere without her ever. Like
yeah.
And I don't know if that was me doing that or her doing that, and I'm sure it was just both. But yeah, it's so freeing not having to worry about what I'm doing, and even if there were bad things like the drinking, and I'm not like a drunk where I get fucking sloshed or whatever. It's just like, yeah, I would drink too often, right? And it wasn't good for me. But yeah,
I mean,
it feels so good.
Hell yeah, dude. And that's. Go ahead. I was gonna say it's good to hear that. That gives somebody like me hope, just knowing that I feel comfortable with my. Well, that's a fucking lie. I'm not satisfied with where I'm at in life, even in the slightest, because of multiple reasons, and I kick myself in the ass many times a day for waiting as long as I did to do what I did, because you never get any younger. But
yeah, that's one thing I'm dealing with.
Which fucking sucks
you're
dick.
36?
Yeah, I'll be 37 here in a few months.
What aspects of your life are you not comfortable with? What do you mean? Elaborate.
I would say when I looked at my previous life I was a partner in an engineering and survey firm. I had a great job made a really good living. I owned a fucking home. I had a, on paper, I had a wife, and like I was doing the thing, man. I fucking made it. I'm doing what I should be in my mid-30s.
How did you feel
the goal
at that point?
Miserable as fuck.
It might be your lowest mental time since.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It was terrible.
That job was horrific for you.
It was.
And what are you thinking now? Besides feeling like
I live in a loft. I'm a 36-year-old man who lives in his mom's living room in a loft bed.
Yeah, but that's not permanent.
I know it's not permanent, but it's not fun to live through.
I'm sure your bank account looks a lot better with the house being sold. Like
that's a huge.
You have a job. You can go get a nice little
reliever.
townhouse in Minette or something, or in downtown Bremerton. Like
yes, I could get there's
whatever those are called.
There are options, right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying not to jump the gun on any of them because I need things to just settle. And so once we get tail end of July, I can start getting serious about things because that's when everything's finalized. Like I'm not going to go out and buy a house all by myself right now because I got other, what if something happens before, judge says, bangs the gavel. Okay, you're free and clear now. But so that's fine.
Like
that's only a few months away.
A nice apartment after everything's settled.
That's
you don't
what
have
I'm
to
thinking.
buy a house. Like
that's what I'm thinking.
If I didn't have a kid, I'd probably have like a little townhome.
The only kind of hitch in my plan now, because I look at apartments every single day, and there's a lot of apartments on them. Most of them are insanely overpriced, but every day there's a couple gems that pop up, usually in like a decent part of East Brim, which does not suck. There's one in Squamish right now that does not suck, but I'm working with my mom at this point because she does need help. She's going down to Arizona in October for the winter. She's got 5,000 fucking animals, and so depending on what her plan is and how she's going to be able to do it, is she going to take one horse with her? Is she going to take all 3 horses? She's obviously going to bring her dog with her, maybe not the super old one that may not even make it till October. The plan basically is for me to stay at her place while she's gone and take care of the place for 3 months and take care of whatever animal she leaves, and then I have my own private space at that point. It's nice. I've lived there before. That's where we used to do the show out of that place back when we lived there before. So like I'll be able to have my own private space like that, and then at the tail end of the winter whenever she does come back in January or February, whenever the fuck, then pull the trigger on my own place and go. But there is.
Well, it seems like a good timeline to kind of collect your thoughts,
and just cash in too.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine right now. I'm helping her out with bills, which is a nice thing that I feel like I can do, and especially me being there. I sleep there, but I don't spend much time there, so like I don't tap into the groceries very often, which is nice. But like paying for the power bill is a nice thing I could do, or covering her cell phone bill or something this month so she's not as tight or something like that, because she's retired and fixed income and shit like that. And managing a horse habit on top of that is tough.
Pricey business.
Yeah. And everybody makes their own bad decisions. But.
Let me ask you another question. Do you think that you're really unsatisfied? No, let me rephrase it because I don't want to qualify it that way. Do you think that you're unsatisfied, or do you think that you're just in transition? Because transition is uncomfortable in almost every time. Like that's just kind of how that is. You're moving from one thing to another, and you're very much in transition. It's living in the garage is never.
It's not a good.
It's never.
Doesn't feel good.
What I'm saying is it's never even been an option that it would be forever. From the moment that you moved into there, quote unquote, that you started sleeping there, you knew that you were on a timeline until you were ready to move out until then.
Indeed.
Because a lot of things that are like, this is me being shitty because of my relationship with my mom, right? That like there are a lot of things that you're doing because you're a good son that you don't have to do. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I'm not arguing that you shouldn't. I'm just making the point that like this timeline is you are gauging that, you know.
Yeah,
so
we're crafting that.
I'm not at all trying to put anything on you, but like, well, you're fucking doing this to yourself. Like that, I just want to be clear. That's not at all the point that I'm making. It's really just to hone in the limited time frame that is the transition. That's really all that the point that I'm trying to make. So do you think that you're unsatisfied with where you're at in life, or do you think that you're in an uncomfortable transition period?
Both. 100%. Yeah, no, I'm very unsatisfied in most aspects of my life at this point.
So what outside of I don't mean outside to like devalue it, I mean because we already addressed it, outside of the housing situation, right? Elaborate it further.
The biggest thing I've been struggling with again is
I'm not trying to put you
my
on the
old
spot. I'm
job.
interested in what you're.
No, that's what this is.
Yes.
This is why we started this whole thing.
I just don't want you to feel like I'm like fucking explain to me why you're upset. Like I'm not trying to be a dick.
And for a look behind the curtain, Donovan and I used to do this after most podcast nights. Anyways, we'd sit around and then I would just vent for an hour to him while at least an hour.
No, I want to hear this too because you and I were in.
Indeed.
Yeah.
That's why, like, I wanted you here specifically for this kind of stuff. But my last job, obviously, not the greatest situation, but there's satisfaction I got from that I don't get anywhere else.
You enjoyed the work, but the level of, from what I understand, but like the level of stress and that.
So the ownership aspect of things,
right,
was not great for me.
But you always, from what you're talking about, you always loved like fucking around a cat and being out in the field and doing all of that.
Making stuff happen is great, and I like the ability to run stuff, and I'm going out there helping to manage projects and all that stuff. That's really, 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 really good, and I enjoyed that aspect of it a great deal. And obviously, you know where we work. You have to make your own meaning every single day there. You have to find and I don't. No, I don't. I never did why I left in the first place. So I can envision myself in the future. I've still got a lot of good connections in that industry. Getting into a position where I can, be a planner or project manager, not in the ownership scale like that, just being able to do that aspect of the job that I enjoy doing. And it's something that I can be, it sounds shitty to say this, but like I could take pride in what I'm doing, and I don't think it's something that I don't.
I'm in a very similar spot.
Not that I'm embarrassed to talk about where I work now, because it's an amazing place with amazing people that do amazing things for me, and they always have. But I'm never going to be like super proud to like brag about my job.
Yeah.
And like,
exactly.
I go meet somebody, like, well, what do you do? It's not something I'm going to use to boost myself in the world of meeting people, because that's another thing that you start to deal with being out in the world as a single person, and you're just kind of meeting new people and forming relationships, and it's like nobody wants to be that guy that's not proud of in some aspect of the job they do.
I think that's really interesting, because I obviously understand and agree.
I might be phrasing that wrong.
No. There's nothing wrong with how you feel and how you perceive it. It's just different than how I perceive it, so I find it really interesting. And so I don't think I agree with you with like this is not my thing. I've told Dan that. I will not work here forever. This is not my thing. This is a thing that I love this company and I love you guys, and the work is fine with me, and I'm able to disassociate myself or connect with it in the times that I need to like make it work, Yeah. But I've told them, this is not my thing. It's a thing that I'm fine with, and I happen to be very good at it, and so I'm fine with like I'm content here, I think,
It's but if I can phrase it this way, this job will never get me to where I want to be in life.
Okay.
If that might be a better way to phrase it. I just it just never will. Which is I said, it sounds like a shitty thing to say, but it's not it's not going to get me what I want in life.
No, you know what I mean? And I'm really glad that you said that, because I think that makes that phrasing makes a ton of sense, right? This is a job that you could have forever and live a totally normal life, like live a totally consistently. If I didn't have or whatever. Like if I was single and I worked this job, I would have like a house to myself and I would live a very comfortable life, you know, with the amount of money that I make. Like if I, and I'm not like, oh, I wish I didn't have kids and wife. I just mean in your position, like I would live
money
a very
aside,
comfortable life in that. And, but it wouldn't, you know, I just this week like wrote down for, I don't know about this episode of SOS ID, but for an episode of SOS ID, like questioning whether or not it's okay to feel unsatisfied, whether it's okay to feel that way, because it makes me feel shitty to feel that way. Like I have a really wonderful wife. I have a really great wife and I have beautiful children and I live in a house, and like I feel like these are things that that I appreciate and I enjoy and that I love and that I value. And that's part of my deal. Like in the last month or so, I am like completely unable to escape the level of unsatisfaction and like, what the fuck am I doing? Like I feel like I need so much more and I don't know what that is or what it looks like or how to get there or how to whatever. I just feel so upset and like so depressed and like so lost. And I'm talking to Jordan, but like I can't even explain it in a way that makes sense or doesn't feel shitty to me, because I should be able to be comfortable. I should be able to be content. I should be happy with this. Why am I not okay with this? Why do I need more? Why am I doing this? Because I feel like sometimes it's it has caused issues, but it is put me in a position where I'm not operating at my full potential in other aspects of my life. Like, especially in the last month that I've been trying to figure out my deal with the show, because in full transparency, this is a totally Donovan deal. All of the not doing the show, all of the stuff, not that you obviously said you agree with me and like stuff, but like the decisions to not do this was driven. I'm not trying to, whatever. A lot of this is based around issues that I'm having, right? The breaks and stuff in the show. And as I'm doing that, like the longer I go not doing it, I am just reflecting more on the time that we have spent doing it. I'm like, have I been fucking around for 5 years? Have I been giving up opportunities to spend more time with my children or make more money or do something different in chasing this endeavor that I now don't even know what I'm doing? You know, I can't even answer the question of like, any of the questions, you know? And so I like,
you don't even know where to start with the question.
I feel fucked up for not feeling satisfied with my life.
And that's, for me, it's very convenient because I just have this divorce thing I can point at and be like, oh yeah, everything's fucked. Of course I'm not satisfied, but I know it's deeper for me, which is why like I look further down like the job path and all that. And I start thinking about, when was I satisfied in some aspect of my life?
I haven't been satisfied with my work since I was fucking in helicopter Afghanistan. I have not been fucking happy.
Word.
Like the only time I was happy was that, or being in the back of a fucking hook and ladder fire truck, going to a ski. The only things I've ever really liked doing, and selling ski. Like,
oh yeah, that just sounds fun.
Yeah,
but that's like, you can't. It's difficult because you're, in my estimation, you're examining the other great things in your life and going, I fucking own a house. I have this beautiful, a big, beautiful, actual loving family, which is not what most people can say about it. Like, why am I still feeling like this? Why am I still so lost and unsatisfied? Maybe you have a good group of friends too, but it's not, those things don't make up a perfect life. We talk about like rich people being miserable all the time. They have fucking everything in the world that they could ever want, but they could still be miserable, because you have to find, you and Nils talked about this, you have to find the thing that actually makes you, that fulfills you. And unless you have that, unless you find it, you're probably still going to always be unsatisfied. And there's only one way to try to figure that out, really. And that's kind of just there's lots of ways you can try to do that, but you definitely should not feel, easy to say, obviously you're going to feel the way you feel about it, but like, you try not to beat yourself up too much about it, because everybody's looking for that same thing. Everybody's trying to figure out what is going to allow them to go home happy on the weekends and enjoy life to the fullest and not have this sick thinking feeling that something just that you're missing something. And I mean, it rots me every single day. But mind you, like I said, I got a lot of really good excuses to get fucking to focus on instead and to blame not me about it. But there's only one person that's ever going to be able to fill that hole for you, and then unfortunately it has to be you to figure out what it is and to try to figure it out. But that's also what this whole thing is about too, is we all have a good group of friends. We're all friends here in this room, and we're here to support each other while we're going through this process of trying to figure it out. If that makes sense. There's no answers in it, but
no, there's no answers. And living a fulfilled life is the hardest thing to find. I personally have no idea what I need to do.
No.
I feel like that's since buying the house, and you are so good with your fucking kids. Like, your kids are your world. I don't get my son that much, but I know that I'm a fucking good dad when I'm with him, and that I can lean on and be like, I'm doing the most important thing in my life. I'm doing a good job at.
Yeah.
And that feels so good.
Yeah.
Because for a while during the divorce and stuff, and the early years of him, I didn't feel like I was doing a bad job, but because I wasn't there, I just felt like the biggest piece of shit in the world. And you can't control everything in your life. Like, I know with your other show, it's not where you guys want it to be, but the mission statement is solid, right? Like, you want these differences in the world. You want people to live free and happy and make their own decisions. And it may not be doing exactly what you want it to do right now, but that doesn't mean you can't try other systems doing other things. I loved your live show idea. It sucks you guys haven't pursued that a little bit harder, because I think starting at the grassroots, like, it is, especially in this area, it would be, there's so many people who need to hear that and probably want to hear that.
Oh, there's a lot.
But
we're like a real silent majority out here.
Yeah,
the people
exactly.
I fucking run into, I fucking ran into a dude. I was telling Donovan about this, who's like a regular dude at the brewery we all go to and spend way too much time there. But like, he's a button-down, suit-wearing lawyer. Turns out he's like one of the main lawyers for like one of the heads of the state GOP, dude, and is super tapped into all this crazy shit. And like, the level of like, you would never think this about this guy, but like, he's one of them sleeper cell dudes that is just like, he's a hardcore fucking liberty-loving American who's just super quiet about it.
In my opinion, fuck that. You guys have a set of balls to come out here and put your fucking dicks on the line and speak into a microphone and put your opinions out where anybody could see them, and you're willing to listen to both sides of things. And you'd have a blue-haired liberal sit down. I guarantee you guys would do that. Have you guys ever had the opposition, I guess, sit down with you?
Yeah, we've had a few very progressive people come on here.
Yeah.
We've invited many more than have come on, because it's surprisingly quote unquote difficult to get those people to come on here and have a conversation.
But you're not doing it in the Charlie Kirk fucking troll kind of way, where you're just trying to make people look stupid. You're on here doing it the right way.
Well, and I think as time goes on too, we're discovering that. Because the show has gone through evolution after evolution after evolution as we evolve over time.
In its current setup.
Like, it used to be very, very different. But when we continuing to find out really what is the important part of aspects, and like you and I both have not been really tapped into like the politics of things these days, because at this point I find it all so incredibly tiresome and corrupt, and it's almost wasted attention, other than to point out when there's things that are going on. I'd be like, okay, well, this is happening, and they're stealing fucking money from you for this bullshit reason, blah, blah, blah. And it's more concerned about like how people live their daily lives and trying to instill that sense of like freedom at home.
It kind of feels like that wave is almost over. The generalized understanding of the people in the country that the government is fucking you over and not helping you, I think is there pretty much.
It's well understood.
It's, I don't like, and that
something's going on.
So us like doing a show that's revolved around that isn't necessarily relevant anymore because that. Like we don't need to convince people of that anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot of people are waking up.
You already know that. You know, we maybe will explain it for you a little further or like draw some more connections for you. But you're gonna read this story and understand I'm getting fucked here. This is what they're lying to me. You know, we make, like I said, make a few more connections of these. This is what these lies mean.
Where do you go from there then? On how to fix it?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. And that's what why we haven't done a show in a month. It's because I have no idea. I don't know
what do we do
what to. The first time we didn't do a show, I didn't feel like I had anything that I to say.
What did your wife say you were? Was it Paul Revere? No.
Sam Adams.
Sam Adams.
Yeah.
So
you should just go back to England for a while, fuck some shit up, and then come back. And then
the way I look at you, and I've only seen you mostly through the show, right? Like we
spend a lot of personal time together.
Yeah, but okay, let me collect where I'm going with this. I see you as a leader, 100%.
Pretty easy to follow. I'll say that much.
Yeah, and it's like the show is great, but like you were saying, it's kind of rhetorical at this point or redundant. I personally hope to see you starting to lead grassroots from like around here. Like that's why I asked you, would you go to town hall meetings? Would you get into politics? Because it's like that's the way you're going to make the changes. I don't know what other avenues there would be to do that, but that's how you make the changes, right? And I don't mean like a fucking malicious sense. I mean like doing it the way they set it up, or trying to change the way that they're doing things now.
And I don't have faith in that locally. I don't think that I don't have faith in the political system in general. I don't think that will work. And
but you're not going to change it from the outside.
And that's fine. I'm not asking to change the political system. I don't like, because I don't think that I'm of the impression that there are minute changes to the political system or the way the government works that will shift the country back in favor of the people. I'm not of that opinion. I don't think that that's a reality. I think for our country and our government to function the way that a majority of us are agreeing that it should, it will take a monstrous change that exist on more than a local level. I don't think that
I disagree with you because it has to start small. There's no way you do it top down. Every revolution, and I don't want to say revolution, that's just such a buzzword. They all start with this one group of people and it spreads out. It doesn't go top down. It never has.
Most revolutions only have a small percentage of people actually involved that will topple governments and change world history. I mean, it's a very, very small situation, but I'm in agreement with you on this. I don't think that's the answer for. First of all, I know that I don't think that will bring you satisfaction, first of all. And
I don't want to be involved in politics. I don't think that works, and I don't think that trade to spend 30 years of my life not spending time with my family to not make changes in a government and not make people's lives better will make me happy.
I don't think that juice would be worth the squeeze.
I appreciate what everyone, because I fucking hear this all the time from you and Riley and whatever people talking about what an excellent father. Like, I appreciate what you guys are saying and I appreciate the compliments. I don't agree. I do not feel that way. On a near daily basis, there are things I am questioning, and on a weekly basis, I am questioning how good of a father I am. Like, I don't. Whatever you guys are seeing, it doesn't exist within me. It does not here. So I don't
think that's good,
it's
man.
Difficult for me to conceptualize doing something that is going to remove me from my family that much when I'm still feeling like I'm trying to be a good father. Like, I don't even feel like I have a handle on being a good dad. So I don't feel like taking more time away from that is a good use of my time.
And no outside perspective on that is going to change the way you feel about that. Because you're the one who's going to judge you the most harshly for how you feel as a father.
Yeah, I don't know.
That totally makes sense.
I don't know what to tell you. I appreciate that, like,
it's not to tell me, man.
It is to tell you. You're telling me that you don't think that it's good, and I understand that, and I appreciate that. I don't know how to explain this or make it make sense for you. Like, there's, I came at him a little bit a couple months ago when we were talking, because we were talking after the show about, and I kind of came in and like, well, you should be appreciative for this and this and this, like these things or whatever, and he's like, you have a happy family, that you have this to support you. You guys see a very, very small portion of my life with my children. I am an attentive father. I do pay very close attention to them. I'm very aware of what's going on. I care about those things. That doesn't solve that I don't feel like I am emotionally supportive the way that I need to be of my son. That doesn't resolve that my behavior, my quickness to raising my voice and yelling hinders his ability to process his environment. Like, this is a reality of my existence of father. The way that I conduct myself makes his life and his behavior more difficult. So you guys don't see that, and that's fine, but
nobody knows their own life.
That is the reality. Like, yeah. I don't, every night when I go to put them down, they both tell me they hate me and don't want me to put them down. That's fine. That's not because they really hate me, but that doesn't make me feel good, that there's something missing there from the experience they're getting with Jordan, they're not getting from me, that I don't know how to provide. I don't know what I'm missing. I don't know what the disconnect is there. I don't know what to do. I'm trying. I feel like I'm trying every day. I still can look back. You should have done this. You didn't need to yell here. You didn't need to conduct yourself this way. You're an adult. He's a child. She's a child. You don't need to behave like this. It's the same thing as me coming at somebody about, you don't need to be eating like this. These are decisions that I'm making, behaviors that I'm conducting that I don't need to be doing. Why am I doing this? Why the fuck is this happening? I don't know. I don't understand. And I don't like to write it off to whatever. Like, I didn't have a dad. I don't know. I'm doing exactly the best that I can be doing in this particular time, and that in and of itself feels like a total fucking cop-out. That's like, I'm just trying my best, It's not good enough. It's not good enough. There are things that are missing there. There are steps that I'm not making, and that's making people's lives harder. That's making his life harder. I don't like that. That makes Jordan's life harder. That feels like an enormous fault on my end. And it's difficult for me to hear you guys, anybody, talk about how good of a dad I am, because that's how I feel. That's my experience, is that I'm missing things every fucking day. I'm missing things. And then I hang out with you guys and you hear with me for a few hours. God, you're such a fucking, I wish I could be just like you, man. I want to be just like you. I feel terrible every day. Last week, I cried on the way home 3 times because reflecting on things I didn't do for Dax, things I could be doing better. I feel horrible. I feel terrible. And I don't want anyone to stop what they're doing or, be overly considerate of my feelings or anything, but that makes it harder.
Stop fucking complimenting me all the time.
Say that to me, that
that totally makes sense.
Well, cool, I'm only outside looking in, right?
Yeah, and we all are.
I'm not talking shit about anybody.
Of course.
That's why I'm not saying don't fucking say that to me. Yeah. That's your experience. That's your perception. And I appreciate that because those things do sometimes help reinforce that, but
I see your kids with you though. And I would never think that they're saying that before bedtime or whatever. I see the way your son interacts with you.
And I think I think everything that you just discussed, first of all, I feel like we should do this like AA style. Thank you for sharing that. That was powerful stuff. It's hard to be vulnerable like that. We've all done it on the show before, and so thank you for that. Everybody that comes on here and opens up, it's just not an easy thing to do. But I think if there is the one lesson that I think I'm going to pull from this is that nobody knows how you feel about yourself and the way you live your life other than you, because you're the only one that has to live with yourself 24/7. And it's nice to have outside perspective sometimes, but there's a lot of times where it's like, don't tell me that because I don't feel that way, and it can be overwhelming at times. And if anything, it would be nice just to remember before you start. Just remember that everybody's lives are not. They're probably not exactly the way you perceive them because you're not with them 24/7 and you're not in their fucking head all the time.
And even if like we're not talking about the bedtime thing because it's a behavioral thing that's
No.
like specific. It's like
it sounds like
I
kids.
recognize that, right.
I don't want to go to
don't
bedtime.
Actually hate me, right?
Yeah.
There are other smaller elements like I'm gonna say 3 out of the 5 weekdays, Dax will ask me, "Daddy, are you gonna be home tomorrow?" And I have to tell him no. I'm not going to be home tomorrow.
No.
And on Thursday, I can tell him, no, I'm not going to be home, but it's going to be a short day.
Be home early.
But then also on days like today, it's going to be a short day, but then also Brine and Uncle Offie are going to come over so I can record this show.
Mm-hmm.
And, up until 2 months ago, like, there was no question of that, But now I'm in such a place that I'm like, am I fucking wasting time on this endeavor that is causing me to miss time with my family that my son is desperately expressing to me that he wants with me, and I recognize that this is the dynamic of what we've chosen. This is how our particular life needs to break down, that like I have to work these hours for Jordan to be home with the children. Like this is the reality of that. That doesn't make those experiences and those conversations any easier when they happen every day.
It's certainly not going to make you feel better.
To see him disappointed every fucking time that I have to tell him, no, I'm not going to be here tomorrow morning. I have to work, and then I'll be home, for dinner.
Yeah, but that's just an unfortunate reality of like you're not going to be there for everything with your kids, and one day your kids are going to move out of your house, and you're not going to talk to them every single. That's just what's going to happen, and there's zero way to avoid that.
And I'd like to pull a fucking. I know the episode will be out before this one comes out, but the only thing to do at that point is to take the triangle aspect of things, and you're doing it every day, and there's literally nothing more that you can do except to keep trying, because the only time I feel like the only time that would actually be wasted is if you're not continuing to try to do more, or to try to do better, or to try to set your future up in a better position that you think it might work out better, and you might get more time if we do this, if we do that, if we're moving this way. The only thing to do is to just try to keep moving forward.
I know,
and just try to do. You can only work with what you have, and you can only do your best every day. But it's even if you feel like it's not enough, what else are you gonna do? If you don't try your best, then there's only one way to go from there, and that's backwards. So you may not feel like you're getting there. One day you might have an epiphany, and something might happen that might then change the path that you're on, and you might feel better about it in the future. But if the only other alternative is to resign yourself to standing still or moving backwards, that's definitely not an answer. The only thing we can all do is just try to keep moving forward. And you have a lot to deal with. I got a lot to deal with. Brian's got a lot to deal with. I mean, I can't get caught up in the cycle of stuff too much. Otherwise, I'll just find myself spinning my wheels, hanging out in one spot, and then I'll be a 40-year-old man still living in my mom's living room. Just got to keep try to do better every day.
You can't kick yourself for what you're doing right now at all. You really can't.
Try not to.
What do you mean?
I also like one of my best motivational methods is to make myself feel like shit about what I'm going through, so that it pushes me to not go through that, to move faster. It works for me. I'm a very self-deprecating type of guy, and it just kind of has always helped to move me along if I need to. So it works for me. I don't think it works well for everybody.
But you can do other things right now, and you don't think it's a good choice to do that.
Exactly. Then that's a struggle I'm just balancing.
So then don't kick yourself for where you're at, because right now, I think I agree. I don't know your fucking situation. I don't know really anything about you other than the pretty much surface level.
I really want to get an apartment right now.
And if you're logically thinking this isn't a good time and it's not a good idea, then you can't kick yourself and be like, hating on your situation when, just like you said, your mother's going to Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
You have a safe place to go to bed every night.
Yeah, logic tells me just this seems like you're doing the right thing right now.
Yeah, and exactly. And if you're doing the right thing, you know you're not going to be doing that forever. Like the whole time I was in the trailer, I was the exact same thing. I hate this, but I'm going to keep doing this until the opportunity presents itself where I can move on and live a better life.
And don't lose sight of what I want in the future. That way I keep moving towards that.
I work with a dude who's 38. He lives in his parents' house with no rent, and all he does is play with Legos and he is a trained chemical engineer. And it's like, why are you complacent with it? You should not be. You should be driving, like, your hygiene's terrible. Fucking rag on this guy. And it's like, dude, fix your shit. Like, how are you functioning? How are you okay with the way you're now? Yeah. Where you shouldn't be like that. You know, eventually things are going to change and you can make them change. But right now, you are dealing with what you got.
I'm really, really trying to remind myself every day of where I was in November, December, January. Because
that was a really low time, right?
It was not.
It was not. Okay.
It was not. Because I found a really, really, really nice way to distract myself from moving forward. And it was phenomenal. It helped me reevaluate what was important in my life and actually not just go home to an empty house and just spin my wheels on, my wife leaving me and trying to keep a house afloat and all the things. And it was really nice to distract myself from that for a few months. And then
what were you doing, if I could ask? Or
yeah, I mean, I've talked about it before. I got involved with a gal, and it was
the gal that was here the first time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a whole thing. But it was a really, really great distraction. But it also distracted me from not moving. It let me just spin my wheels for a few months, and it was during the holiday times, and so like there was just a lot of things that I didn't have to mentally deal with. And eventually, it was, I need to do this. And it took a very harsh reminder for me to actually, put your nose back to the grindstone, get going, get your shit in order, and keep moving on. We need to close this chapter of the books. That way I can get my life actually on the right path. You're done just spinning in neutral. You can't do that anymore. Otherwise, your life will never move on.
You know where you want to be, and you know where you've been.
Yep.
Like, you want to go back into that engineering type consultant role.
Yeah.
Like, you're in a spot now where you're on a good platform to jump off and go whichever direction you want.
Indeed.
Like,
the future.
Like you said, put your nose to the grindstone and don't fucking go backwards. Like, I don't see you going backwards.
When I look at things logically, I got nothing to bitch about. I mean, I literally have nowhere to go but up from here, and I could pick whatever fucking path I want to choose to go. I mean, there's
if
nothing
this is your
holding me
low,
back.
it's not a. I mean,
and I should be thankful for that, right?
I can't tell you that.
I know nobody can. I have to feel that, but I don't.
And can I touch the father thing? I know I said I feel like I'm a good father, which I really do.
No one else in this room is qualified other than you two to talk about fatherhood.
Every single time I leave my son at the ferry and I go back, there's multiple things that I reflect on and I'm like, I could have done that better. Every single fucking time. Why did I raise my voice here? Something so stupid. Why didn't I wake up at 5 a.m. and already have breakfast going? Why did I waste 2 hours this morning making breakfast and getting together when we could have left the house at 9 instead of 11 or whatever, right? Like, I didn't use this time every single time. And it's like, okay, well, if I look from the outside and what other people tell me, like my parents or my other friends, and they're just like, dude, you're always doing something, and you're taking him on hikes, and I'm, yeah, well, I could have done this with him too. I could have done this, right? I could have spent more time reading with him. I could have spent more time teaching him music. I don't have to. With teaching especially, I learned because I've instructed people how to ski before, how to stand up paddleboard. I've coached baseball. I've done a lot of teaching, and with other people, a lot of
really simple stuff.
What's that?
You've taught me a lot of really simple stuff.
Interesting. With people really close to me, I don't have that level of patience that I have with other kids or with other people, right? Like, and I'm finally starting to learn, just treat them like anybody else. Like, don't get frustrated because he's not tying his shoes the right way, right? And you spend 2 hours trying to teach him how to tie his shoes. Like, I'm teaching myself, cherish every fucking second with that. And sitting there on the ferry reflecting that I'm unhappy with what I did there, like, work on it next time. And I don't drink around my kid anymore. Like, that was a big thing for a long time. I would drink and I'd sleep in, and I was just like, what am I fucking doing with myself right now? Like, I would resent my father. And he was so young, he would have never had an active thought about it. Now he's old enough to where I'm like, he recognizes when I'm drinking, and it's very, very infrequent that I drink around him. And it just used to eat me, and it still does. Just last time sitting on my drive back, I'm like, man, like I wanted to play music with him this weekend, and we didn't do that because no. Shit eats at me too, man. You're never gonna feel. And outside looking in, you spend so much fucking time with your kids, and I'm so jealous of that because I don't have that. Right? I pick him up on Thursday night. We don't get home till 6 o'clock most times. And like the ferry, we're not talking, we're not playing. I'm fucking crammed in here between two fucking other construction workers like this, right? Half the time we can't even sit together on the ferry because we're so far back in line. I have such little time. We wake up the next day. We'll usually do something, and like now I have Little League. So I wake up Saturdays. We have to go to Little League. He plays Little League in fucking Everett. Yeah. And now I have to take that jaunt 2.5 hours sometimes driving, or get on the ferry, wait in the ferry line, and it's just like I'm trying to stay as active with him as possible. Right. I like to give him his screen time because he has none of that at home. Yeah. None of that with his other mom and dad.
Also helps make you cool down a little bit more.
Oh, and that's part of why I do it. Also, when I was a kid, I had unrestricted access to the internet.
You fucking game all the time. It would be wildly hypocritical to not let him use the screen when you're on the computer all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And like,
if you weren't here, I would also be on the computer.
Yeah. And I'm planning on buying myself a nice PC like yours, like a big tower PC, and I'm gonna set a PC setup in his room, and
oh yeah, you guys can game together.
Exactly. And I have space next to my desk where I can move his setup, and we could sit right next to each other and play. And that's my plan. And he like watches a family on YouTube that they just played like Minecraft together, and we play Minecraft all the time, right? And he loves that shit. But a lot of it too is me saying, screen time's over. Like you're gonna learn how to play fucking E minor right now on guitar, right? And he hates it. And like hiking, he hates hiking for like the first 30 minutes. We're like we're going up because usually up around here you're going up first, right? Yeah. Especially out and back, so you're doing the elevation early.
Yeah.
And he hates it, and then you start getting that rhythm breathing, and your legs start loosening up a bit, and then all of a sudden now he's enjoying nature and he's loving it, and at the end he's all jitter and happy. Like the picture I have on my phone right now of the background, we did it was, what was it, 3.2 miles in the other day? Pretty. Yeah, dude. Oh, he'll crank 6 miles in.
I couldn't believe that. Yeah, the hike.
Some little legs be going.
Yeah. Oh, and he's a monster at it. But we've been hiking. My ex was a professional. She was a backpacking guide in the Olympics with llamas. They had a llama farm and everything. So she spent her entire summers living at camps and whatever. So when we started dating, I was hiking every fucking weekend, backpacking, 3-day trips, overnights. Yeah. You know, making food over a fire or little camp stoves.
Right.
And I'm a big guy, right? I don't look like I could hike, but anytime I'm hiking with like skinny dudes, I'm telling them, come on, let's go, keep going. Yeah. Like I have drive in my legs, and I just go. And you could tell that his like body's developing, that he does that because he's got like big fucking quads, and he's a really in shape kid. Like I make him do push-ups and stuff, and his other father is a really in shape dude, and I think they do right by him in a lot of ways. A little too much Christianity for me, and I'm a Christian myself. I'm a Catholic, but I don't practice. I understand why people really love religion. I'm not one that needs a governing body over me that can tell me what I can and can't do. My morality comes from me, and I know I've spoken before. But yeah, like I don't think you ever want to be at a point where you're comfortable with how you are as a parent, because like anything in your life, you should be driving to do better. Like I know you're probably, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but your job, I'm sure you don't fucking love every day of it.
No.
But you see something changing in the future where you get to do, I don't know if it's what you want to do, but you know they have a plan for you. You've told me, I don't know what your discussions are like. But
I have no idea what their intent is.
But you know that there's a finish line somewhere, or a finish line, or a next step that you think is coming, right? And I imagine that's part of what drives you to be there, plus all the support they give you. Like,
I am there for a few different reasons, right? One of them is because they pay me well, and I don't work for the government. Like, it's a private sector job that pays me well and is comfortable, and it provides what my family needs. I don't even want to say now, because ever since we moved in this house, we've been in a fucking deficit for 2 years. But you know, the opportunities and everything it's provided has been there. You know, they helped me house, they're helping with the bakery and everything. So there's a lot of, you know, those are all reasons. But like I said, I've through every serious discussion with them about things that we're doing, I've been open with them that, like, this is not what activates me. You know, this is not the thing that I love to do. This is a thing that I'm happy.
They sound like people who'd understand that.
And
like doing a monotonous job with a brain like yours is not.
And I'm not like designing shit. I'm not an engineer, you know, so that's not like, this isn't the type of big brain stuff that I want to be doing, you know. Like I said, I happened to be good at it. Like, that just was a chance thing that I grabbed onto. So yeah, I don't. It's providing what I need at this particular time, and I don't have enough of a lead on what I would even want to do next, because I wouldn't leave there for, like, to just get a different job. You know, it's not by any means worth leaving to just get it, to, like, change it up. You know, it's not, because I can do, like, this sounds like I can do what I want there. I fucking watch anything that I want all day that isn't people fucking, and like I don't, you know, I can conduct myself into, like, the level of trust and stuff that I have there is.
But you're productive.
So I'm exactly. Yeah, that's exactly. So I definitely wouldn't leave there to just get a different job, and that's part of why I'm still there. Is that, like, if I'm gonna leave, it's
for good reason.
Yeah.
But my point was, like,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go on for too long.
Oh no. That wasn't me cutting you off. I was just like, my ultimate point was, it's providing the things that you need to do to have the home and
to figure out where you want to go next.
Yeah, and I know you said you're in a deficit, but you're doing that for a reason. Like, I'm sure the bakery's not helping at all. Obviously, clearly, it's not helping at all right now.
Not yet, baby.
But that's
soon.
The end game is because it's going to eventually, right? And you guys.
As soon as Jordan is making money, we'll be fine.
Yes.
That's the only. That's really, you know, we will be fine. Yeah. It's not. We're not in an internal deficit. It is that
we're in the gaining. You know, you need capital. To start things, and so we're at the providing capital moment to start something.
That's not because I don't make enough money. That's because it costs a ridiculous amount of money to have a house here.
Well, we had that discussion.
To exist. Like, that's a cost of living thing for this area. That's not. I'm, like I said, if I didn't have a family, I would live a very, very comfortable life. I'm paid totally fine for my job there. It's not. That's a cost of living thing. That's not a Bennick thing.
The cost to enter for what you guys are doing with that bakery is that wall that stops many people, and why you don't see it all the time. And
that's what Tim has said too.
The people who fucking put their nose down and they actually do it, and they don't hit that wall and let it stop them, they will be successful. Like, if you keep going, you will make it work. Like, that is the only way. That's the only way it can happen.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I don't
want that was it.
Can I ask you guys an opinion question? Because I don't know. It's just now.
These are all just opinions. None of what I said is fact.
What I mean is,
I like these, because then you're like, oh, here's something I need. I want to know about.
What I mean is,
let me ask you this.
Yeah, that's really what I mean. Is like, I don't have an answer that I'm looking for, and I don't know what the answer is, or if there is one. That's really, I guess, what I'm getting at. When we first started doing the show, you know, and the entire time, like, Jordan's made a ton of sacrifices on her end for us to make this work. You know, time with the kids and, like, all that type of stuff. Especially once we started making, like, longer shows and, like, all that, you know, all kinds of stuff.
It was the same for my ex too. I mean, different ways,
precisely.
But
yeah. And so we've had a lot of conversations about, like, you know, that's like.
I was going to hike today. My sacrifices, I'm here.
I appreciate it.
Shout out.
You know, like, her and I have talked about that a ton of times, and she said it. She's like, I know, like, I'm supporting you, like, in this endeavor of the thing, you know. I've had to do, I'm not looking for a pat on the back. This is just laying out the question. I've had to do a lot of work to get the bakery up and running for the last 2 years, whether we're just talking about the amount of hours that I'm putting in or the
There's a lot of the things.
the shit that's been going on to try and get the bakery going.
A lot going on the back end.
Do you guys think that it's possible that I might be having trouble with what I'm doing with the show because I'm in unknowingly or subconsciously or whatever in like a support role for Jordan right now? Like we're focused on, that's where my focus is. Like that's why I'm doing shit all the time. I didn't go fucking golfing because I'm like, I got bigger shit I got to do. I got other shit at home to do because we're doing bigger shit all the time. Do you think that I'm having difficulty finding direction in what we're doing here because I'm more focused? And there's nothing wrong with this, right? It's okay because we're married and that's like, these are
the right and proper thing to do.
Right, this is the balance that happens. Do you think that maybe part of why I'm having trouble finding what's going on here is because my focus is not here? My focus is getting Jordan's thing going, like because that's what's gonna, that will change our lives, even just for the small, for the better. Like for her to be baking, for that change to happen, will
I think it's a multi-headed dog.
Open up.
Yeah, I'd say, in my opinion, it's not a factor. I don't think it's the factor. I think, you know, it's not the biggest one.
No,
I
that's
would
why
certainly imagine.
Right, that's why I say part.
It's definitely an aspect, but it's, like I said, and like you said, this is what you're supposed to be doing right now, 1,000%.
Yeah, I'm not questioning that.
I don't think because you're busy doing stuff, you don't have time. You don't have as much time to think. So that's definitely an aspect of it. And then if you're continually trying to rack your brain about a particular question or something that's going on, or trying to determine how you're feeling, by having your brain busy doing other stuff, that's less time. Because you're a thinker. You digest a lot all the time in that fucking noggin of yours. And if you're preoccupied doing other stuff, there's going to be less time for you to like think and process about stuff. I don't know how much of that stuff you do at work, because there's a lot of time where I'm just mindless or music on the headphones and I'm processing shit all fucking day trying to think about stuff. I don't know how much of that you do at work, because it's a good time to do it, but it's definitely a factor of some kind. But I don't think it's, if you weren't doing the bakery stuff right now, we'd probably still be doing something similar to this, because there's obviously a deeper roadblock going on in your mind right now than dealing with the bakery and that being a distraction.
Right.
That is not, it's a factor, but it's not any of the leading causes, I would say.
I'm definitely not trying to draw it up.
It's a side effect, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm definitely not trying to draw it up as like, this is what my problem is. Because I agree, this is the right thing to be doing because of the demonstrable amount of positive change that it's going to make in our lives.
Oh, yeah.
That even just the father thing, I'll get more time here in the morning as soon as Jordan is baking. I will get more time because there will be 3 days a week where I'll be here in the morning. I will be here in the morning when they wake up that I wasn't there.
And that's big.
That's the only schedule change. Like I'm not working later. I'm not doing like there's one Friday I'm going to work a full day instead of fucking go home at 1. You know, I go home at 4:30 all the time anyway. So that's not that big of a deal, especially if I've got time with them in the morning. You know, that's why I go in early, is because I don't want to miss time with them in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And I would have to stay here till fucking 9 to get good time with them in the morning, you know? And then I'd be there till 8 o'clock. So,
yeah.
Can I answer?
Yes.
100% doing the bakery stuff is going to be affecting the show and everything. But like you were just saying, you're seeing it as a positive end game. But like you guys were saying earlier, the political realm right now is, is it in a lull still, or
I would say so, because it's the same.
It's the same fucking Trump cases that have been on forever, right?
Yeah, the
war in Ukraine is
like,
still.
oh, they finally passed fucking foreign aid that's going to go to these 3 countries that we've been talking about for 6 months now.
Yeah.
Money we knew was going to go there anyway.
Yep.
That's been being sent through fucking executive orders the whole time anyway. Like it's
overseas spending, Trump cases, Israel, Gaza, Ukraine border.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed.
It's all
months.
uninspired topics right now. So like your drive for that, if there was a new pressing thing that like you wanted to sort through, I think you'd be doing that. But right now, there's really nothing for you to really want to get intense over and sit there and sort out, like you were saying, at work. But I think also you're kind of seeing the things you'd have to do to the show to really bring it to that next level, and the amount of time investment. This is why even why small YouTubers immediately get editors, right, that are on payroll and they're paying out of pocket for them, because they can go through cut all those things. And I know I said I'm going to do it, and you guys just haven't really had a lot of show, and it's hard for me because it's Saturday. Blah,
You don't
blah.
know us anything. That's
But I want to do it because I really love what you're doing. Like, I'm doing it out of selfishness too, because, like I said, whether it's fucking politics or however you do it, I need your brain to help people around here or whatever at the national level, anywhere. I want more people to get on board with you and your thought process. Not you necessarily, but the way you guys are with the freedom and liberty. Because I want my son to grow up in a world that doesn't look like fucking Bangkok, China, with fucking iron factories everywhere, paper buildings, styrofoam fucking walls. I don't want that for my kid. So for me, it's selfish. And I'm not going to sit there and fucking be a martyr and grab a rifle and go fucking kill myself in a courtroom somewhere trying to fight. Because it does fucking nothing, right?
Yeah.
But I think what you guys are doing, don't take this the wrong way, I don't want to say ineffective, but like...
Well, you wouldn't be wrong in saying that.
But it has to be done, right? It has to be done. And if you stick to it, if things have to change, it will grow. Like I know you guys have been doing it for a long time, but the message is spreading. Even take the 100 or so viewers you guys have on every video and put them into a fucking room, right? And talk to them. Now they're gonna go tell people what they have. It spreads, maybe not in the way you see it, but it is doing positive changes. And whether you think it's worth it or not, that's a whole different story. But out of selfishness, I want you guys to keep fucking driving that and figure out how to get it to that next level. But now
that's a whole other conversation too.
Yeah.
Can I run an idea by you? If you're done talking, I don't want to cut you off.
Just right now, I think you need to not what you need. What you're doing, you have other things that are going to help you get back on that track in a better way later on. It doesn't have to happen right now, right? Like, you're not gonna all of a sudden change your mind and be like, I don't give a fuck about anybody. That's not. I don't think that's the way you guys are, right? Like, it's okay for things to take a break and have lulls when nothing interesting's going on. You're trying to make your life more home time with your kids, bakery. You're trying to make it better in other ways, which is everything's gonna help each other later on, and you're putting the work in now where you need to. And I don't think you should feel fucking guilty at all for not doing the show lately. Like, the little what the hell's been going on you posted, like, that was perfect. Like, 100%. You're doing what you need to be doing right now, and you don't owe anybody anything. Just keep fucking driving, man. Like, you get the bakery done. Figure out what it is after the bakery's done. Like, there's no fucking rush. You're not going to change the world overnight, right? They didn't build Rome in a day. And they didn't destroy it in a day either. That's all bullshit. But
no, you're right. Yeah,
quite astute.
Yeah,
quite astute.
On one last note, I think, and a content note at that will actually give you credit, because I think I was too stern earlier about local stuff. Been thinking a lot lately, obviously, about content stuff, about, I don't even like fucking using that word anymore, but like show things, about just what this is gonna look like. And I've been thinking a lot about like longer pre-recorded videos, like more like kind of documentary style stuff, because I can like dive a little bit deeper into one particular topic that isn't just like breaking things down, but us like talking to more people, getting more answers.
Investigative?
A little more of that. Like talking to fucking government officials and stuff like this. I don't want to be a politician. I'm not interested in that. I don't want elections. I don't want any of that type of stuff.
And when I said politician, I didn't mean to be a politician. I meant like almost like what you're saying.
I just mean to drive that hard line that like being an elected official is not something I feel like I ever want to do. I don't want that responsibility. I don't want any of the stuff that goes with that. The involvement in that world, I don't think is something that I can even escape at this point, because of how I feel, because of the things that do activate me when they do. And that's like what I talked about in the video, that's, even if I told Colin, like, the SOS is done, we're not doing this show anymore, I'm going to end up making a video about something. I'm going to end up making something about something that I'm upset about because she doesn't want to hear about it, and you guys are only going to listen to me so many times before you're like, I understand. I fucking get it. You know, I agree with you. We've talked about this, and that doesn't that just lives in that loop that, you know, eventually I will go back to that world of doing what I'm doing now in some sense, and I don't know if part of it's because this is what drives me. Part of it's because this is the expression that my art has found, and I don't know how else that looks. You know, I don't even know how else to. There isn't another art besides like writing in this that I'm even anywhere near good at. So this is the right way for me to express myself, is through these mediums.
Yes, and I have an idea. I don't want to cut you off, but because essentially what we engage in every day is we engage in the culture war. That's what it is. We're changing hearts and minds, trying to get them to find, you know, liberty and freedom and stuff like that. When you reflect on what pieces of media over the decades have been the most impactful towards society as a whole, the documentary style has always done that.
And me. Yeah.
Yeah. And same. That might be a really interesting avenue to explore. I mean, you could do, because I mean, you can make, there's 15-minute documentaries. There's hour-and-a-half long documentaries. There's 10-episode series documentaries.
Well, and just some of the bigger stuff, like the more coordinated conversations that we've wanted to have, that we've just been like, well, we're going to do this, and we just haven't been able to make it work, you know? I think that would be an easier thing to do, like homelessness, for example. You know, that would be a very easy thing for us to line up discussions with multiple people and have them not in one time at, well, you know what I'm saying, at one place, to make appointments with them.
It's going to happen. It's going to be a way better way to distribute that message, or the thought process, or whatever you want to call it at that point. If we collectively hit people, create a product, versus having Leif come in here for 7 hours one day.
Right.
We're not going to hit the same levels that you would if it was a more organized and you know, and then talk to a dozen people and throw it all into the same hour. It's a very very interesting thought.
I like that a lot.
And I think, just thinking off the cuff here, it seems like that might help scratch some of the itches that we've been looking to scratch lately. You hit a particular topic that's been bothering us that might not be the head of the topical news right now.
And there's more writing involved in that. You know what I'm saying? If there's more organization, I think that would
that's very
activate me more too.
Yes.
You know, to have to think about the way that
how do we
things
tell
are going
this
to go
story
together. Yeah, I think that. I've been watching a ton of the Channel 5, right?
Yeah.
And that's I've been watching those. These are done very well. Like
that's that dude who was working for another company, right? And then that kind of they kind of pushed him out, right? And he's doing that Channel 5. Was that the Vegas tunnels? He was just okay, same guy.
Yep. He was just telling me about that the other day.
I just watched that too,
like a month ago. Maybe.
Oh, really? I've been watching him for years. He used to do. I do not remember the name of the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
He was a contractor for essentially, but now he's on his own.
I've seen him be on a gang of different shows, but didn't know who he was, so I never watched any. He's been Lex Friedman a couple of times, and he's been on. He was on Matt and Shane's, and he's been on Joe Rogan. He's been on all these things that I didn't know who he was, so I skipped all these episodes because I don't fucking care who you are, you know. But yeah, the type of stuff that they're making and the level of depth that they're able to get into a particular topic, I think is impactful. Obviously, you know, like that. And I'm not.
It's more forever content.
And I want to be really clear that I'm not saying this is going to make us more money. You know, I think that that's a better way for us to express ourselves and to be able to drive home a particular message over that length of time, you know, than for someone to watch us for 3 years and be like, God, every other week they've been telling us the government's fucking getting us, and they are getting us. You know
that.
And you don't even have to fucking have a message. You could just show the realities of things and let people form their own. I think we're all coming to the same conclusion off of that Vegas thing. Everybody should leave there feeling the exact same, well, not the exact same way, but you know what I'm saying? You're going to leave there with those same thoughts that other people are going to have.
Yeah.
And you don't need to be spoon-fed answers. We're all, you know, people can think for themselves.
Yeah.
And you just have your tone of freedom and liberty, you don't have to give people answers of how to solve it either.
Right.
And that might be where you start talking to lawmakers and stuff and be like, what can you do to fix this? How can this happen? Like with the homelessness around here, that's a killer issue. And then you have Lath that you could, bounce things off of or talk to him for 30 minutes and just, and when you have your list, this is what I found. How are these things going to be tackled?
I'm liking where this is going.
Yeah.
That feels real good to me.
I think there are a lot of things, especially with Seattle just being across the water, that we could do there, on the ground stuff. Like I was very touched, activated, whatever, by the parts of the Channel 5 videos, like the ones he was doing in Philadelphia and stuff. When he's on the streets, he's talking to people who active addicts, like people who are doing these drugs and shit like that. And they're like, he's not taking shots at them. He's not trying to make a spectacle of this. He's like, I'm trying to have a conversation with you about how the fuck you got here and how the fuck you can get somewhere else, And the amount of talking that he does is very limited. He's not talking at these people. He's
giving them a voice.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that is super, super important.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that we've talked about on this show, experiences that we've had and stuff that people pinning us in certain spots of like, that's not true because of this experience that I've had. Like this is, and to be able to highlight those things, I think would be really good.
I think so. Done talking about this because my mind is just rolling right now.
So that's where I've been at a lot.
I like that a lot.
I like that a lot.
And you could use that as a jumping point off, and you could still do the show every once in a while. And
because the live streams are fun. We enjoy hanging out and covering that stuff. Like, and people enjoy being here. The conversations are good, And I think especially if we had a larger audience, they would be more fun. There's just more people there. There's more involvement. There's more opinions that are being engaged with in those discussions.
And you get more people involved. You get a little bit more hands. Less work type thing.
Yeah, when I started thinking just now, when thinking about the documentary thing, like that was, we had talked to John Sadek a long time ago, like cooking up a sizzle thing for us, and he was like, like the amount of money that you would have to pay me because of the work that I would have to do to do this, like to comb through all your stuff, isn't really worth your time. But I think that would be a thing that would be worth, not that you're not a capable cameraman, but I think if we want to make like
professionals would be better at it.
If we want to make a really beautiful product, it would be good to get somebody who that's what their job is, and it would be a really easy thing with the minimal amount of Patreon money that we have to be like, here is a lump sum of money that we can give you.
I have a camera gimbal if you want to borrow it, and I have wireless lapel mics that.
Well, and I mean, gimbal. John will also edit it for us. That like he'll work with us to help. Like he just has more experience in. That's what he does. He's a videographer. That's what he does. And so that's all Nils, who the rapper that we had on. He makes all of Nils' videos and like all. So he's just does excellent work. I really trust. I love his
top tier work.
Yeah, and I know that he would work with us intimately if he has the availability. I don't know what he's doing. I haven't spoken to him in a long time, but I know that he would work well with us on making sure that it looked and presented the way that we wanted, as far as the story and the things that we're trying to. But that's just my first idea. But I just mean that's like you said, that's a really easy way to get other people involved that are doing that, to get more hands in and just make it a more community project. Because I went to school, we went to school with him. John went to school with me and Elijah, and that's how like him and Elijah are very good friends, and so I knew them all throughout school and stuff. And we've had him on the show a couple of times.
Yeah.
Please let me know if I could help, dude.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to do something. I did my little thing.
That will take more hands-on. And I like this show, the live show thing, like I don't want you to think that we're just dragging our feet on it, especially with the time there with this, like I want to have a show that we're going to do, and I don't even know what the live stream looks like right now. So to set up a live show when I don't even know what this one looks like feels wrong, because I don't even know what to tell anyone that I'm going to do.
Exactly.
When the manager of the bar says, well, what's the show? I'm like, don't worry about that, but give me 2.5 hours and I'll fucking have a thing, you know? I don't doubt that I can talk for 2.5 hours. I know I just did it. I know that I can talk for 2.5 hours, even though I was fucking by myself. But I don't want to not have, especially if we're going to try and grow it from that, I want to have a polished thing that this is what we're presenting when we come here, you know?
It needs to be a finished product before it even gets brought up.
Yeah, I just hope you guys do something like that.
And
I know I keep saying local.
No, but I
like,
agree with you, and I fucking came twisted about the politics thing, but you're not wrong, and it's the same reason that we fucking live here is because I care about this place, I care about this area. The politics thing, I told you, this is Gotham City to me. These people are continually voting to like remove their own rights. You guys are retards. I don't know how to do that. I don't know what's going on because this happens and then all, 3/4 of the state comes out and says we don't agree with this gun law. Then I don't know how it got here. I don't know I don't know what to tell you anymore. I don't have enough faith in the system that's taking place to even tell you if you go out and get enough people to vote, then this bill won't go into effect.
Yeah.
I don't even believe that, so I can't.
They've shown it doesn't matter.
And that's what I'm saying. So I don't even feel like I can advocate for that, because I don't think that it works.
Yeah.
I do have, and I said this before, I do believe that this state is getting to a point where people are so uncomfortable that the fuckery in the system cannot persist, because when you have 100,000 people outside of the state capitol that are protesting X, Y, or Z, you can no longer argue that a majority of the state wants this thing. Like that's not, if you have 100,000 people that are there in person, you have 10 times that amount that hate what you're doing.
Yeah.
So,
and then for where our capital is, for the people that to take the time to drive to the place that they do not want to be in to do that anyways.
So I do believe we're getting to that point that people are getting unsafe enough and uncomfortable enough in trying to live their lives that we will have to see some type of resurgence back to that. But
I think nationally and locally that's happening.
But I don't want to be involved on the political spectrum of that. I'll be, if we're in a place for it, I'm happy to be.
You already are, brother.
I mean,
you already are.
I mean, in the system of it.
In the system, yeah.
When that happens, especially depending on where we're at with the show and stuff, I'm more than happy to be one of the people in the Capitol speaking to the people. I do believe that is my place.
Yeah.
I do believe that is my place, is to express these ideas, to be able to put them into words that people agree with, because that's what we've been doing. That's what I know that's what I've been doing. So,
but not even Ron Swanson could take down the Department of Parks and Recreation, for God's sakes, okay? And that is a devout, ambitious libertarian.
So, no, I got you. I'm there. I'm with the Parks and Rec. Yeah. So.
Well, on that note, let's bring this bad boy to a close. This has been an extra good one, extra long one. We've hit high highs and low lows on this one, boys, and I really appreciate.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
I appreciate you guys having me on again.
Any
fucking time, dude. I love being here.
I love that you're so close now too. I'm like,
nice.
Pretty quick. Maybe Brine will come in, right? Maybe if he's not doing anything. Keep you out of the woods for half a day. We appreciate that.
I'm gonna go watch hockey after this.
I think that the ending message for this one. Stay strong. Persist. Continue to try from another angle. We're gonna find a way to mix that into an ending thing, because it's good for like the triangle is like a good catch thing.
Yes.
We have to find a way to make it to a longer ending thing, because I like the message and I like mixing Kevin into it. I like keep trying from a different angle.
You could always go back and regroup.
Yeah.
Boom. All right. We'll see you guys next time.
To the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat everything.